Into this Sri Lankan jungle, the tourists are piling by the dozen. But the attraction here in the northeast is not temples or ruined royal cities or the wonders of nature, as in the rest of the island. Instead, it is remnants of Asia's longest modern war, which pitted the separatist Tamil Tigers, purporting to speak for the Tamil ethnic minority, against the army, overwhelmingly from the Sinhala majority. Here the tourists have come to see a bunker built by the feared tiger leader, the late Velupillai Prabhakaran, as a hideout. It looks like a bungalow, but goes no fewer than 4 stories deep underground.
He was operating on such a strong basis, he even aimed to capture Sri Lanka. But because of our heroic soldiers, our President and Defence Secretary, we're living in peace now. We're grateful to them.
Sinhalese families, like his, have come from villages in the south. It's not formally organised or promoted by the authorities. Instead, they club their money together to take a bus, buy food, rent a guest house, and come on a sort of secular pilgrimage to see how the rebels lived. Their lookout points, their shooting range with mock soldiers for target practice. War tourism has become quite an industry here in post-war Sri Lanka. Visitors come mainly from within the country or they're people of Sri Lankan descent. You can't fail to see them when you come to the northern part of the island. And they can see a string of sensitive wartime sites, mostly linked to the vanquished Tamil Tigers. They're thickest on the ground here in Mullaitivu district, which was the final redoubt of the Tigers before they went to a crushing defeat in 2009. The sites are all run by the army. Unusually, this Sinhalese soldier speaks fluent Tamil, the language of the north, and of this group of visitors, which includes schoolchildren from war-ravaged areas not far away. It's clear that a fair and perhaps growing number of the tourists are indeed Tamil people, either living in Sri Lanka or now based abroad but here on a visit. Some lived through Tiger separatist rule or the horrors of the wartime violence. So it's remarkable that most signs are in Sinhala only, with a little English and no Tamil. To many, that seems to say to Tamils, this isn't really your country, one of the damaging attitudes that they would say triggered the horrific war decades ago. Indeed, some say this war tourism is ethnic majority post-war triumphalism. I wanted to put that to this Sinhalese Sri Lankan who now lives in Australia.
Their war memorabilia is preserved, in the war museum and all that. Even Tamil Sinhalese, everybody can see what actually happened and they can judge by themselves, like what they want to think. So rather than, hiding them away from people, it's good for them to decide, leave them to decide what actually happened,
Some of the Tamil tourists we met, including those who also now live overseas, appear to agree with this, like this woman who's lived in Germany 25 years.
We're very happy to see this. We didn't really know what happened here. We only saw it on television. If you come here, you can see the ideas they had, the engineering skills, and the way they used their brains. We don't know what suffering they went through, but it's interesting to see this.
Perhaps the strangest tourist site is this ship, a Jordanian vessel impounded by the Tigers in 2006, and then used by them as a base and a supply of metal for their war machine. The army only took it 4 days before the war ended in 2009.
We all came together to see what happened during the war. We've come to this part of the country for the first time in 30 years. Earlier, we didn't have the chance to do that.
The tourists here were all Sinhalese, but the attitude we met was not triumphalism or gloating, just intense curiosity, even a measure of admiration for the dead rebel leader.
I think this is a very harmful thing he did for our country, the Prabhakaran, but I think he's a very talented man. He had good knowledge, but he didn't use his knowledge to develop our country. He's a Sri Lankan, but he didn't use his knowledge to develop our country.
But it is disturbing that to get to places like the ship, tourists go through areas utterly devastated in the army's final offensive against the guerrillas, in which thousands of civilians died. The tourists flow in, while many local Tamil people cannot yet return home. Ordinary tourism involving beaches, for instance, barely exists, but one day it may do at places like this one. This Tamil family are enjoying the sea at Mullaitivu, the small town adjoining the final battle zone. Half of them live nearby, half in Germany. Their emotions are mixed. 15-year-old Satya, visiting Sri Lanka for the first time, is terribly sad at the destruction, but feels visitors are well treated.
The armies are not so bad. They smile and speak with us. Yesterday they come and make a photo with us, and it's okay.
Her cousin is less happy.
It's very sad to see. It's a Tamil area, and all the boards are in Sinhala and English, and nothing in the Tamil language. Overall, Tamils don't see these places happily. When they see these places, they feel sad. It's mainly Sinhalese and foreign visitors who see it.
It may be seen by many as premature so soon after the end of the fighting, but war tourism in northern Sri Lanka is booming. Most foreigners can now visit most of the region without restrictions, and the authorities would like to draw them in too, to experience a place that most until now would have seen as anything but a tourist destination.